Usually when we do testing with these ballistic head dummies, it's to determine the lethality of a given implement. But I want to do something a little bit different today. I want to explore the deliberate non-lethal application of a sword. Because not every fight is a duel to the death. Sometimes it's to first blood, or you're just trying to get the guy to stop attacking you, or just settle any other number of reasons where you might not want the guy to be dead at the end of it. We're going to try this a few different ways, starting with what I believe will be the least lethal, and we will gradually escalate as if our dummy here was just not taking the hint and needed more and more assertive ways to get him to stop attacking us. With that said, he is full of fake blood, so as these attacks escalate, the odds of this getting kind of gruesome will increase. So this is your warning now if you're a bit squeamish. To start off, we're going to be striking with the flat instead of the edge, using our sword to slap him right across the face and see just how the skull reacts to that. Okay, so I didn't put a whole lot of juice into that one, and I wasn't trying to, right? We're still trying to get him to just back off. We're not really trying to hurt him yet. But if you look here, we have managed to actually cut him. We have split his cheek right there. I feel like that is a very ideal outcome for what kind of strike we were trying to do here, right? We're just trying to get him to back off, and suddenly splitting his cheek open with just a little cut right there might just get the message across. Now let's say that didn't deter him. So I'm going to escalate this a bit more. I'm going to throw a cut towards his brow, but I'm going to pull it. It's going to be a little snapshot, not with full follow through, but hopefully just enough to give him a nice, good split down the brow and really make him rethink his life choices. Okay, this was a bit more severe. This is going to be bleeding like crazy. Remember, all the gooey bits on this ballistic head are inside the skull itself, but if anybody's ever taken a cut anywhere to their face, you know how bad those bleed. And this gouge right here didn't penetrate the skull at all, but that is going to really just be pouring, I think. That is going to hurt like crazy and maybe ruin his hairline from here on. All right, now, this guy's really starting to get on my nerves. He might just be standing here, but I don't like that look he's giving me, and he is just not backing down. He just keeps standing there, menacingly. I feel threatened. So I'm going to give him something to remember me by now. I'm going to go for the slice. I want to ruin that ear so that everybody goes and sees, oh, that guy got whipped in a sword fight. I think he's going to remember us after that one. I made initial contact right here above his ear. That just gave him a little slit. And then I came down and sliced through, and it completely separated this chunk of his ear off. I would hope the barber surgeons might be able to stitch that back on, and maybe he won't look too terrible after all is said and done. And then it carried through and gave him this lovely Joker scar all the way down to his mouth. That's going to ruin his good looks. This next one we're going to pull from Fiore, because he talks about doing a pommel strike to the mouth that he can personally attest to having them spitting out 4 or 5 teeth. So let's see if we can ruin his ability to eat now. So these aren't actual teeth, of course. This is all part of the same cast as the skull. So we're not going to get the full separation of the teeth, but if you look along here, you can see where I fractured the teeth, and there's a dent right in here from that pommel just shattering all along. You might be able to make out that line of separation in that upper row of teeth. That's right about where I hit, and those are not looking so pretty. Next, we're going to break his nose. That nose is very split. Ow. That's unfortunate for him. But I'm going to take it one step further. We did the teeth, we did the nose. Let's do the forehead next. Okay, I thought I pulled that a fair bit, but that just goes to show how dangerous pommel strikes are. That has cracked. That is very, very bad for him. I think that fight's over. He might not be coming home from that one. I'm not quite sure. I'm not a doctor. but that is definitely not something you want to have happening to your brain case.
Yep.
At this phase, somehow he is still fighting, so we're going to start putting in closer to full cuts. I still don't want to see this guy put in the grave, so I'm still going to be pulling those cuts a little bit, but I'm going to be cutting to make him stop now, for sure. We haven't gotten to full cleaves yet, but these are going to start getting kind of nasty. All right, that cut came in. That was a Zwerkow right to the side of his head. We caused a laceration through here, and it really bit into his cheekbone. And now that part of his cheek is just completely separated. It is no longer connected. And who knows what happened to his eye. That was real close to his eye. So that's not good for him. Oops. I was trying to pull that cut. That sliced a lot more deeply than I was expecting. Again, you have to respect the sword, right? Even trying to pull that, I gave it more gas than I gave that top slice, right? That was the result of a full, not a whole full power, but a full follow through. Will drive that through so deeply, so easily. I think if you're trying to cut non-lethally, you have to do these push-pull cuts, because anything with full form is going to just open them up. I'm not exactly sure what that cut did in isolation. It looks like I have, actually, on further inspection, no, that's what I did. Remember how it was just a thin laceration before? That has now completely opened up all through there, and it kept going all the way and connected with where we opened up the schnoz. So all of that is now open, and we caused a split down to the bottom of the teeth. So we have completely chewed up this side of the face. We still have a lot of structure over here. At this point, I'm going to start putting on the gas and see what I can do to this side of the face if I just wanted to end the fight first stroke. All right, that was a severe cut, but not quite what I was looking for. Although, thinking about all the arteries through that neck region there, that might have severed something pretty important. We cut into the skull a little bit, but it wasn't quite as high as I had meant for it to be. So I missed, took that ear, split it in half, and carried all the way down that jaw. Looking at how clean that cut is right there, I think it just bit there, came through 8 until it got to the edge of that skull, and just that's where it stopped, and it pulled through the rest of the way. So we're going to get this mounted back up again, and then I'm going to aim a bit higher up. All right, I think that might have been the kill shot we've been looking for here. That completely opened all of this, cracked his skull right open like a nut, and had he not already spilled so much fake blood, I think this probably would have been gushing, but I don't think he has all that much left to give us. But at this stage, I think this says a lot. So I'm just going to start cutting, and we'll just see what happens. I just wanted to pause for a second here. This thrust went behind his jaw, up and under the skull, and into the skull. This sword is buried somewhere up in that brain there. That is terrifying penetration.
How about it?
If you'll excuse the diversion to the staff and mace, I really wanted to just get whatever was left out of that skull. But that fun aside, I think there was some interesting stuff that happened with the sword. The severity to which it could cut pretty deeply with not a whole lot of force is something I've been aware of, but it's different seeing it done to a skull analog. It really drives it home. And I was also just very pleased with the effect of those snap cuts and the flat strikes as a expression of stop fighting me now before I start doing the other stuff. Hopefully you found that educational in some respect and entertaining too. Until next time.